Namaste, Marcus again. We're in that lovely time now between Christmas and New Year, and it's been quite a year, 2020, with the virus and everything else, and a strange year, there's no question about it. One day, I'm sure not so long in the future, we'll find out what this was all about. But for now, what we have to do more than anything is stay in our hearts and be ready for what's coming. Because if you'd seen the last few videos I put out, in fact the last few years videos really, but the last few videos have been really emphasising the fact that we've been letting go of all the old stuff, or our old dregs, everything that we've accumulated because of our way we have lived as human beings by experiencing life through karma and learning through karma. And I feel, as I've said many times now, that is all finished now. Now we're experiencing life through higher self, through our oneness connection. And as we start to raise to fifth dimension more and more, or as more people raise their consciousness to fifth dimension, this is how the world will become. Now, it's not going to happen overnight, it's going to be a long haul. So for now, we need to get as many people raising their vibration as we can to fifth dimensional consciousness, so that we can help bolster, if you like, help keep the vibration high enough to overcome any of the darkness that comes towards us, so that we can be such a bright light. Because remember, it only takes a little bit of light to make a dark room bright. Or it only takes a little bit of light to make a dark world bright. And that's up to us to do now. We can shine our light into the world, around the world, and just radiate it from ourselves, and everything and everyone around us will feel the benefit of it in one way or another. So that's our job. What we've been talking about the last few months has been us emptying our vessel, letting go of all the old, so that we can fill our cup once more, our chalice, our holy grail. We can fill it now with nice things, with good vibration, with nice feelings. Even when you're aware of this, it's not easy to do every day in every sense. So I'm standing in the supermarket earlier, waiting to buy my stuff. I'm waiting at the till. There's a lovely old lady in the front of the till being served. And it must have taken 10 minutes for her to get this coupon, tried to get this coupon through, and it wouldn't go through. And it was only worth about 15 pence, but it kept the queue there for ages. And I'm thinking, oh, it's only 15 pence, and I'm moaning. I'm the last one to moan, usually. No, I'm not actually. But, I know that I shouldn't be moaning. I know I should be going with the flow and being in the moment. And all that time, it was only a few minutes actually, but those few minutes I'd stood there upset or not in my harmony was wasted time. I could have been sending vibrations out into the world, sending vibrations into the supermarket, being nice, and all I have to do is be in my heart, and that vibrates everywhere. And sometimes, like I've always said, it's easier said than done. But when we fall foul, we have to remember it and point it out to ourselves and do it better next time. That's all we can do as human beings. Learn from our mistakes and not repeat them. Or try not to repeat them, let's say. So, we're now emptying our vessel. We've emptied our vessel basically now. And come the new year, we're going to be filling it with light, filling it with our connection to higher self, with what comes through to us from higher self. And that is a very high level of consciousness, higher self. So we're talking about above fifth dimension, and that's where we're picking up what we need to fill ourselves with. And basically, we want to fill ourselves with light, with good intention, with nice feelings, with love for all things, with compassion, with caring, with thoughtfulness. And they're the sort of things, you all know what I mean if I talk about them. That's what we should be filling ourselves with. Not impatience and anger and grief and worry and fear. Nothing's worse than fear at the moment, so try not to let the fear in here, you know that one. And what we need to do is stay in our hearts. So I know we're unscripted, but I'm going to read something now that I wrote down just before I did this, because I've got terrible memory. I can't memorise stuff at all. I just want to remind people about this, because I say to people all the time, there's a lot of people I come across out there who, if you ask them, are they spiritual? They'll go, oh yeah man, I'm really spiritual. Why is that? Well, you know, I get up in the morning and I meditate, and I do my qigong and tai chi, and then I go out and I'm nice, you know, to the world and lovely, and I do all this stuff. Okay. So, I read the Bhagavad Gita every day, and I read the Quran, or I read the Bible, or whatever. And a lot of people feel that that makes them better than people that don't do any of that. And I've said it before, some of the most spiritual people I know in this life, and have known in this life, aren't what they would call spiritual at all. They're just ordinary human beings. But they're special. There's something special about them. Like my good friends in London, and you know who I mean. And like the friends I've got all over the world, who are just so special. Like Robert. Like my dear beloved wife. Like, you know, there's too many for me to mention. Ordinary people are quite often filled with more light, naturally, because they're just being themselves. They're not trying to be somebody else, and they're not trying to imitate somebody else, but they're totally connected to the oneness, totally connected to their higher self, and without knowing it, they're listening to their higher self. I wrote this down earlier, and it says, each soul is part of the oneness, and as such is constantly evolving to take back new data to the oneness of all, which we also call God. I personally believe that each one of our souls is a cell of God. And that's how I put this out. When people think they're being spiritual by reading about different philosophies and practices, this is true to some extent. However, it's only by manifesting our true inner being through the physical that we raise our levels enough to truly ascend. And the little catch here, the caveat, is about through the physical. Everything we do as physical human beings is spiritual. There's no disconnection from spirit when you're in the physical body. We're totally connected. But there's limits to what we can do as a physical body, and there's no limits to what we can do as a spiritual being, as a soul. And this is the only difference. And those limits in the physical make it so much harder for us to complete our mission. But that was the whole caveat. That was why it was done like this. Because it gives us an extra layer of knowledge to take back to the oneness. A layer of knowledge about, we can only say what we can understand, and that is, gives us that extra layer of knowledge of physicality and how physicality works. And one thing about physicality is that everything dies. And this is the hardest thing for us to cope with, me included at times. I don't want to leave my family behind. And, I'll be, floating around, whatever I'm doing, lying around, whatever it is. I won't be in the physical, and I won't be able to manifest like I do things like I do now, or think about things. But I was thinking earlier about this, and reminded that our reality when we dream, it's total reality usually. When we're in our dream, that is the only reality we know. That is real. We're experiencing everything that happens to us in the dream, and that is our reality. And then we wake up, and for me personally, I can never usually remember what I was dreaming about right away. Not after a few minutes anyway. It's gone, totally gone. And it's supposed to be like that in most cases. However, I did realise this morning that this lesson was about this. When we do wake up and we're in the physical again, that is our reality. The stuff before is a dream. It's not real. Not real now. It was real then. And when we do leave this mortal coil and move up to our next lesson, our next experience in spiritual body only, then that'll be our reality. It's not like this. We're not able to think and talk and do things. But if you think about the feeling of what it's like in dream state, or when you travel astrally, that's the nearest we can actually get to imagining what it's like. And it's just being. Just being. Nothing to be afraid of. Something to be looking forward to a degree, yes, but not while you're in the physical too much. Because we're in the physical because life is for living, and that's what we need to do. But when the time comes for us all, be ready for that beautiful experience of oneness that we can't really experience fully while we're in the physical. Anyway, I don't want to get too depressing here, or morbid, because it's not depressing or morbid, it's beautiful. But it just brings home something I needed to talk about. Remember, stay in your hearts, keep a good vibration. Don't be like me and let things get to you when they shouldn't do. Just give off love and light as much as you can. Remember that everything that you want to have in your world, you create, nobody else. It's up to you now. You're the co-creators. You can create the world you want to live in, as we do. We've created this world we live in. And we're very blessed because we have a very good connection to archangels and star beings who watch over us and bless us very much. So, it's have a new year time. Have a lovely time. And remember to stay in your heart and give off love and light into the world, much as you can. Don't worry about all this stuff that's going on, because worrying about it is only going to make it worse. Just put light out into it and light it up. Make it bright. not dark. And that way you're going to help the situation. Don't get dragged down by all this terrible news that's going round. Just send light there. Namaste. See you next time in the new year, God willing. Take care.